if you want my body and you think I'm sexy, come on, sugar, let me know.
We're back with episode 31.5 of Stay on Topic, which, before we even started recording, was off to a smashing start in the studio kitchen. Thank you, Bob.
I broke a glass and spilled some ice.
Not in that order.
No, actually reverse order. But anyway, thanks for bringing that up, Chris. Thanks for making me look like a dick.
And from that, a man who hates Donald Trump more than the president's wife does, Bob Ricotta.
Nice to be back. Nice to be back in the saddle. I missed you guys.
I missed you guys too, including this guy to your left, James Post, one of the biggest Star Wars fans I know, who has not seen The Last Jedi yet.
That's true. And I love you guys so much.
And I'm Chris Gill, and I haven't had a Tide Pod in 12 days. Very proud of that. So what the hell's everybody been up to since our last gathering?
Just waiting by the phone. Christmas.
Yeah, the show kind of got sidetracked by the holidays, vacations, and all that. So, but we're back. That's inherent with us three.
Apathy.
The genuine belief that the world was just going to come to an end, so why bother?
And that's our buddy James, the silver lining guy.
We call him Sunshine. So a lot of doings going on. You know, it's been a year and change since Donald Trump has taken office, and if you miss a week, you miss a ton and almost nothing.
Yeah. But they all see, like, everything piles up, but never goes anywhere.
Right. I was just mentioning off air the 538 website, which is Nate Silver's organization, and they just did an excellent piece on how the State of the Union has always been kind of irrelevant, but in a Donald Trump presidency, it becomes even more irrelevant because he's going to upstage it himself within 72 hours and everyone's going to forget about it.
Yeah.
It made me think of The West Wing.
It doesn't everything?
Because I remember the line about, it was in one of the later seasons, and Toby was complaining about...
oh, yeah.
He was accused of pulling his punches. I think it was the last season, actually, in the State of the Union. And basically said that there was no point in putting anything big in the State of the Union because usually the president, you know, after a State of the Union, goes out on a barnstorming tour to stump for everything that was in the speech to try and actually get it done. And that wasn't going to happen in that case. And that's kind of how I felt about this. Like there was no pause. There's no new message focus to go along with the State of the Union. So it was just a speech.
Yeah.
It didn't signify a new direction.
A lot of people were looking for a tonal pivot in the speech. I don't think that was to be found.
Only at the most surface level.
Right.
And Melania didn't like the speech. That was pretty obvious.
I feel like there may be some issues there.
That is my favorite part of this presidency.
It feels
watching his wife's reactions to all the buffoonery he puts out there. That's my favorite part about this presidency.
I feel like that relationship has become somewhat stormy.
Oh, this guy's got the jokes. Yeah, another thing that piled up that just, you know, throw it on the pile that's never going to be addressed. As we were talking earlier, the pile of things that happened just in January.
Yeah.
Some of those include
the exchange with the North Korean leader over who has the bigger nuclear button.
Mm-hmm.
The not even really reveal, but the re-unearthing of the affair that allegedly took place between former adult film actress Stormy Daniels and the president. which she now claims in multiple statements never happened, but she gave a very detailed description of exactly what happened to In Touch magazine in 2011. So that's kind of meaningless to say now it never happened. But yeah, it was just one thing after another the whole month. And that's the affair with a porn star just didn't have any legs at all.
Which is odd from a porn star. I can't match James on the
No.
He's
But it's fascinating and frustrating, and everything that comes up, you think was the shit house or shit storm? Was it
Shithole?
shithole. Yep.
Shithole gate?
Yeah, that was in
That
January.
was in January.
Yep.
I mean, that was a career ender. That should have been a career ender for any other politician.
But he's already elected.
And what's driving me nuts is everything he says. You know, his approval rating will flutter, but it won't move significantly. And the pundits will say, well, that's already baked in. People already just assume he's a racist. So, you know, saying more racist stuff is not going to get him any, you know, worse approval ratings.
Right.
How much shit is baked into this guy? You know, oh, that's just Trump being Trump. You know, how much of Trump being Trump do people, before people just say, no, we can't have this guy as a president?
And we're talking about a public discourse in which, in reference to the memo, which I don't even want to take the time to get into because it was so pointless.
Yeah.
Middle of this past week, there was discussion on the internet, and the FBI had just put out its statement saying that they believed that there were omissions of fact in the memo that made it so that it would be misleading to release it. And the reporters who were writing this story, of whom there were dozens, I mean, everyone from Fox to the Washington Post to the New York Times to BuzzFeed, to everybody covered that when that statement came out. And the reporters were getting what they now call ratioed on Twitter, where tens of thousands of people were replying to their posts of those stories saying that they were lying and that the FBI never issued a statement. They just made it up. All 50 reporters who had written this story. And that's where we're at. People think that reporters from everywhere from the New York Times to Fox News got together and fabricated a public statement from the FBI because that's the only way things can fit their worldview.
Yeah.
And there are tens of thousands of them who are active on Twitter in the middle of the day. So who knows what
I was just going to say
even represents.
Twitter represents what? Maybe 3% of the US population?
Oh, not even that.
So multiply that out and that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
And it really makes you shudder for any future elections, one of which we'll get to later in the show.
Yeah. But no, it's, this president didn't like the media coverage, so he made the media the enemy. Now he doesn't like the Russia investigation, so he's made federal law enforcement his enemy.
Not Russia. Including ignoring the wishes of the Senate and Congress.
Yeah. And, you have to wonder what of our institutions are supposed to be left when his presidency is over.
I know.
And when there are rifts between the administration and their own Justice Department, which is headed up by people they appointed, and the FBI, headed up by people they also appointed, it's mind-boggling.
And this is... You've seen fascist rulers rise and seize power before. but it's not like there's a master plan for Trump.
Oh, there's no
He's
plan.
doing it all on accident.
Yeah. He's a literal bull in not a literal. He's a bull in a china shop, though.
Yeah.
He is just stumbling from crisis to crisis and
unwittingly tearing down these institutions.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my Christ, it's so terrifying to watch. I can't believe there hasn't been a military coup yet. Although after the State of the Union, did you see the Joint Chiefs reaction at the build up the nuclear arsenal comments?
I actually did not.
They look like terrified men. They're like, oh boy. So there are three things that are going to bring down Donald Trump: the military, his health, or his wife, who will smother him with a pillow in his sleep. Those are the only three things that are going to remove him from the White House. I'm convinced of that.
Well, that kind of segues into what we're looking forward to in 2018.
With that in mind.
That's a great segue.
Yeah. Gil's got military coup at the top of his list. Anybody else have military coup?
I've had military coup since, well, you were there, since election night.
Yeah. Pardon? Go fish?
So yeah, we're a month deep into the new year, but still there is a lot of year left to go. Another 11 of them. A lot of shit going on in those 11 months. What are you guys really looking forward to the most from this very young year?
As far as pop culture, I'm looking forward to the Marvel movies. I'll just lump them into one category, you know? Black Panther, Infinity War, and sure, you know, Ant-Man.
Why not?
I wouldn't put those in the same category. Black Panther.
It's already a cultural phenomenon.
Yes, it's got a almost entirely black cast. It's got a black director,
a black cast, and Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, but this is still big budget Hollywood attempting to portray African culture.
Well,
it could have gone so wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like Coming to America wrong.
Yeah. And the fact that the early reviews are so ecstatic.
Mm-hmm. And the advanced ticket sales are through the roof for February?
Yeah.
There used to be no such thing as advanced ticket sales in February.
Yeah. But no, that's gotten me incredibly excited about a movie that I was kind of unsure of.
Yeah, I didn't know how that one was going to go. I still don't know if I like the artistic aesthetic for Wakanda.
Yeah.
I really hated the aesthetic for Asgard. I'm glad it's gone. Spoilers. So that's what gives me pause with Black Panther. Like, is this going to feel like Wakanda or somebody else's interpretation of Wakanda?
Does it have to be your interpretation?
Yeah, why is it why do you?
It's not. It's right there in print for decades.
Well, yeah, but a lot of artists have done it. I mean, they follow sort of the same model.
There's a very specific model that's used for Wakanda. And they used the same model for Asgard for years in the books. So
yeah,
I'm a little, I don't know if I'm going to dig that. But.
We've discovered what Gil's going to hate about Black Panther now.
Yeah.
And that's besides the fact that he's racist.
I'm surprised you're going at all.
So what's your favorite?
He's going to walk out of that movie. You know how I felt about that movie? Exactly the way I felt about Luke Cage. I wonder why that is.
What was your favorite part about Black Panther? Andy Serkis. Racist!
The only white guy.
Well, Marty Freeman's in it too. And they share...
Wait a minute. Marty Feldman?
Nope. Wrong one. Although that would be a whole lot funnier.
Thomas Friedman?
Too deep.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I know Eric Hoffman online and Lord Buffington. Ricardo remembered. Yeah, it's been a while.
It has.
They are looking forward to what I am the most, Infinity War. As far as movies go, I cannot wait to see what they do with this. Good, bad, or somewhere in between. I just really want to see how they are going to do Infinity War on the big screen. That to me blows my fucking mind.
I think as a meta a meta criticism. They didn't build up Thanos enough.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Unless they do a lot of heavy lifting in Black Panther, which I don't see.
It seems unlikely.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit.
Well, and that's, I kind of had this conversation with Eric Hoffman on the Facebooks. Thanos and the design they have for him, I think worked really well as post-credits tease.
Yeah.
When he's gonna be on the screen for that long, I'm not sure it doesn't become silly. And so this one, it was actually on my list with reservations.
Wow. Well, you just hate the Russo brothers. I mean, you've said that over and over on this podcast.
True. Well, and that's, that's just my racism against,
You're reverse racist.
Whatever they are. But
your racism isn't overt as others.
No, I think what I've seen in the trailer looks silly. It already looks silly to me. I think it could probably be fixed in sound design, by giving him a weight to his movement, by giving him a voice, and I don't care if it matches, the voice processing they use. I don't care if it matches his appearances before. I need it to carry this movie. But they're going to have to do something to make me take Thanos more seriously than I'm taking him from the trailer I've seen. Well,
and we've only seen Thanos really in space settings where it didn't look as audacious. But as soon as you drop him on Earth, that could look really...
a little bit like a California raisin.
Yeah.
Now I'm dating myself a lot.
But yeah, that's my biggest fear of the movie. I think script-wise, directing, I think it's going to be fine. But man, the big badness, they have not spent enough time with.
Yeah, and
you're going to be
gotta work.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's the thing that they've had the most trouble with is villains.
Yeah,
and if they don't sell this villain, they could be going into Infinity War Part 2, like going from Batman v Superman to Justice League.
Yeah, exactly. And then just, chopping it up in the editing room and, multi-million-dollar reshoots.
Yeah.
No, I share your concern, but the Russos have done no wrong in my eyes yet in the MCU. So I just give them blind faith to do their thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully... Another weakness of the Marvel movies has been, up until recently, their CG. Their CG has not been good.
No.
And to give Thanos, who is like what, almost Hulk size, a little smaller than the Hulk.
Yeah, but yeah, in that class.
Yeah, to give him that kind of weight and make him a badass, all CG. That's
and not a brute.
No.
And this is
he's only a bruiser when he has a gem or two.
Yeah, I mean this is a mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
Silly as his motivations may be.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm really curious to see. They're not going to use that as a motivation, are they?
It seems like they would have had to have established death.
Yeah. I know.
Like, you can't just pull that out of your ass when you get to
some people are theorizing that Hela will be that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That would be strange. Because Hela doesn't rise nearly to the level of the real incarnations of the Marvel.
The Eternals.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, that movie more than I'm super interested in. A couple of the others that my question mark movies are New Mutants.
I'm almost afraid to see. I don't like horror movies.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it looks like a horror movie.
It is.
It looks really interesting, but it may be one where I get my wife to watch it and have her tell me if it's safe to watch or not. She loves the horror movies. I make her play scary video games too. So
I hate survival.
I can watch her play.
Survival jump scare games, fuck them. They do. I hate them. Fucking hate them. That's why I did not like Last of Us too much. The story was great. I hate jump scares in games and shit like that.
See, and I didn't find it that scary, but I'll be talking about Last of Us again. So,
oh yeah. Also, a big question mark for me is the Han Solo movie.
Yeah, I'm not even one really to talk, considering I haven't seen Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But I'm not even sure I'm planning on seeing that in the theater. It's going to depend a lot on what I hear in advance.
Ron Howard, man.
I know.
When was Ron Howard's last bad movie?
What was Ron Howard's last movie?
I just want the voiceover.
You know what I want? And I'm not the first person to bring this up.
I'm thinking of the voiceovers now.
I know. Just let it go, man.
Chewie, should I punch it? He did indeed punch it.
Nobody likes that show. Ever since the Disney 21st Century Fox buyout, people have been talking about the most minor element of what's really an incredibly complex story about whether there's such a thing as an IP monopoly, which courts have never tackled. But anyway, the question people have been raising is whether that means they'll be able to bring back the fanfare at the beginning of the Star Wars movies, because it seems so wrong without it.
I don't think so.
Oh, I feel the lack of it. I do.
So it's just nostalgia. Like, it took away that little.
To me, that's part of the opening theme.
Hmm.
In my head, I hear that before I hear those opening chords.
No, to me, the crawl is. I mean, when I remember that, the opening score or the 20th Century Fox with the searchlights, of course, that's burned into your head. I don't even miss it now.
Yeah.
With the last 3 Star Wars flicks that have been done under Disney, don't miss it. Still got the crawl.
The music is such a huge part of those movies to me.
But that wasn't even part of John Williams' score, the fanfare, right?
Well, no, it wasn't. I mean,
that was the 20th Century Fox branded logo and sound.
I don't know. It's the music is in my head probably far more than the visuals, even in the original trilogy. And it's the way I work. So
he also tastes colors.
What other flicks you guys looking forward to or have question marks next to?
Well, I have question marks about is Deadpool this year?
Quick trip to imdb.com. Yeah, I thought for sure, because they've been filming that thing for like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
I have a lot of question marks about the untitled Deadpool sequel due in 2018. That's what it says.
All right.
I hope they don't just try to retread what they did in the first one. I really want to see them flesh the Deadpool out.
Isn't Brolin playing
Cable?
I think that's gonna
and Thanos.
Same character.
Yeah.
Range. That's called Range.
Range. That's right.
I think the Cable.
They should have gone to James Brolin to play Cable.
I think the Cable character can take this buddy cop kind of movie in a really different direction.
That's what I'm kind of banking on.
Yeah, but that New Mutants, Deadpool, every movie I'm looking forward to has a superhero in it, basically.
Yeah.
I've heard there's other movies out there. I've heard
you're not still waiting to see 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri?
I'd like to see it. And when it comes out on video, I might, or DVD, I might. But movies are so expensive that I've really picked the ones that are going to have visual impact to see them on the big screen.
I agree. I don't want to go to pay that same amount of money to see a comedy,
right?
That I can enjoy equally in my home,
right?
Yeah, I get that.
Well, I've heard the new Del Toro movie is excellent. The color
Shape of Water. Technically a 2017 flick.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying I would never go see that in the theater.
I regret not seeing it in the theater because it's Del Toro, and Del Toro movies are made for that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
I would feel weird watching it in the theater just because of the
fish fetish.
Yeah.
the fish fucking
The
movie.
human on fish loving.
But yeah, Del Toro, I'm in always. I even like Crimson Peak.
I just shrugged for those of you on that
Yeah.
watching on
I like
radio.
Crimson Tide.
I like Tide Pods.
Me too. 12 days clean, buddy.
And now Bob will eat a Tide Pod on air.
No, I won't. I won't even pretend.
It's-
Kids don't eat Tide Pods. What the fuck? Go sniff some white out. Go drink some Robitussin, for Christ's sake.
If you're curious, look up a YouTube video from SciShow about why you should not eat Tide Pods. The description of what happens when you do is actually pretty horrifying.
Wonder what your poop looks like. Is that the
you won't make
description?
it that far because you'll be vomiting blood within a few minutes because the surfactants that allow the soap to clean your clothes take your skin with them as they go down your throat, and basically strip out your lining of your esophagus and your stomach lining as you swallow.
James Sunshine Post.
Yes.
We did it to a hamster. That's why we know.
How do you think that glass got broken? So what about music? What kind of music you guys looking forward to? And just
No,
to see more live music?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. I'm really.
And if I had a New Year's resolution, it would be to get out and see more live music.
Yeah,
I've been bad about that for years.
my wife and I had kind of a revolution, or not revolution. We had a reawakening of our adventurous spirits.
Oh God.
No, not in that direction. That's always been very vital and very interesting.
Did you buy that bed with the built-in dog crate?
No. Anyway,
That's a deep Twitter cut, but you should look it up.
we saw a lot of live bands over the summer, and we were looking forward to doing that again in 2018. James was telling us off air about a very interesting local festival.
Yeah. There's a festival coming up in March here in the city of Corning, New York, with 20 some local bands. They're still looking for more, 5 venues all day long. It would be great if I weren't working.
I actually did something I haven't done in over 10 years. More than 10 years, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I bought tickets to a Grateful Dead show.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I mean not Grateful Dead, obviously, but it's Dead and Company.
I was gonna say who.
What's
it's
left of?
Basically, it's Bobby Ware, the 2 drummers, and the cousin of a no, just it's Bob Weir
And Wolfgang von Halen.
Bob Weir and the 2 drummers. Not Jack Johnson. Who's the other douche? John Mayer. John Mayer's on guitar. He's playing the Jerry parts.
Okay.
$45. Go relive my
Oh, sure.
20-year-old hippie days. It'll be fun.
Who's playing the banjo?
Clem.
Okay.
Cadiddle Hopper.
Who? What?
That's a Red Skelton joke. That is a very,
Wow.
very dated reference.
Wow.
That's
Red Skeleton.
that's before your time.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't pretend you're 75 years old.
You only look it. The big thing for me is every time there is strife in government, Al Jurgensen is at his sharpest and most viscerating. So Minister's coming out with a new album in March called Americant, and I'm pretty stoked to hear that. And it's Slayer is going to have one last tour before they ride off into retirement. So thinking about maybe doing that.
Yeah.
Yep, those are my big 2 things. What about games? I know Bob, you're
I got nothing.
Yeah, and that's pretty
James
much my
filled
whole
up his
list.
entire list. So I'll get
but-
this one out before you start.
I was going to say mine probably won't take long because no one else will have anything to say about any of them.
The one I really am looking for. I know Lord Buffington.
Da, 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 da.
Thank you. Is Looking forward to the Red Dead Redemption 2, which
Doesn't get pushed back again.
It's how many years between? Oh
10?
my God! It's forever. The one game I'm really looking forward to is Sony's PS4 Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
If Marvel has a chance
I've seen the trailer
to have an Arkham Asylum type effect in the video game world, because DC's kicking their ass there too, this is the game.
Yeah.
If this fails, I don't know where they go from there.
If somebody can actually pull off, because it's so much vaguer. It's when you say a game that makes you feel like Batman, you kind of know exactly what that should be.
Yeah, you're gonna punch dudes and hide in shadows, and
when you say a game that makes you feel like Spider-Man,
that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that's a little more difficult to define.
I mean, as a hero, he just can do so many more things.
Yeah.
That's a tall order for a video game developer to do. If
And
anybody
to give you the freedom that the character has would be nearly impossible.
And the ingenuity that the character has.
Yes.
Like, how many moves can you possibly squeeze into that one character? Of course, look what Rocksteady did with Batman.
2 controllers at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, Rocksteady showed you what's possible with their free flow combat and all the different variants. You could do the same thing with Spider-Man, but man, you got to be really creative. The current generation of consoles, you can absolutely pull it off on. So I'm really interested to see what this developer really can do, how imaginative they were with this, because we haven't seen a lot from this game.
Yeah.
Like, at E3 or anything. But what games are you looking forward to, James?
Oh, God. First off, Yakuza 6.
Okay.
I've talked about the Yakuza series on this podcast before. Set in Japan, crazy as batshit. Lots of political intrigue, lots of goofiness. This one will be the first in many years to actually have a brand new graphics engine, which will allow you to actually seamlessly go into and out of buildings in the area of Tokyo that the game takes place in, which is a huge leap. I mean, the loading screens have been awful, but even in the PS4 era,
the Assassin's Creed's been doing that since Unity.
Well, I know, but that's the thing with Yakuza is they put a lot of effort into the writing. They put a lot of effort into the mini games, but as far as budget, it's never been at the bleeding edge. As far as graphics, as far as technology,
Gotcha.
It's just not. And so this is sort of a step into that more modern era. This engine hopefully will last them a few more games, because they've been using the same one for a while. That's actually, there's another game on my list that I'm going to say the same thing about. Yakuza 6 also includes a full version of Virtua Fighter 5.
Oh my God.
For play in arcades, along with several other games.
Huh.
And that's, they've always had playable arcade games.
But not Virtua Fighter 5.
Yeah, I mean, and this is getting much closer to being set in modern times. The series started being set in the 80s. The main character's gotten much older, obviously. So now we've got a 2012 arcade game, fully modeled. You could play the whole thing inside a 2018 console game. So I'm not a huge fan of the Virtua Fighter series, but to me, that's the fact that they would go to the effort to do that.
Yeah.
And that's just a series that they put so much effort into the mini games and the side quests. And, the last game, they had a mini game where you could manage a hostess club. And
also done an Assassin's Creed, but go on. Sorry, man. Everything I'm hearing is like, this is the Japanese Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft did it.
But in Assassin's Creed, you can't hit somebody, see a visual representation of their scream of pain pop up on the screen like a Batman punch, and then grab that and hit them with it. That's what this game is. But no, the hostess management game took like 15 hours if you wanted to play all the way through that mini game. And that wasn't the only one that long. Anyway, keeping it moving. Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
This is a series that I've always loved from afar. I've never played. Mostly been on like the 3DS and consoles or handhelds that I just didn't have.
This game looks really fucking cool.
But the only thing I'm hearing is it doesn't sound like it runs terribly well in any of the console versions.
No.
Like the PS4 version, for the regular PS4, struggling between 26 and 30 frames per second.
Ooh.
PS4 Pro could pull off 60 frames per second, but only if you run it at 1080.
Mm-hmm.
And the Xbox One version is worse.
Oh, God.
That's
really disappointing to hear.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to be waiting for the PC version. That's going to be another 6 months. So that's the price I pay. But, giant monsters.
Yeah.
And a real systematic hunting process. You have to look for tracks. You have to know about them. You have to know their weaknesses. It's not a boss rush, which is kind of what it can look like.
Not like Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took that concept and really kind of honed it and made it not so arcadey.
Next up, God of War.
Really? Surprised by that, because I'm not even looking forward to that.
I never disliked the previous games, but I felt like they did as much as they could with what they had done. And I'm looking forward to see what could be done with a series with this sort of new, more adult tone. It feels like they're trying to take the series more seriously.
Instead of so over the top.
Yeah. And, honestly, I feel like success or failure, it's going to be interesting.
I'm interested to see what the reaction is to it. Whether I get it or not is going to be another thing, because I'm still behind on the late set 2017 releases.
Yeah.
Like Origins. I haven't played the Frozen Wilds yet.
Yeah.
So it's going to take me a while to get to God of War if I do.
Dynasty Warriors 9.
No, I got nothing.
Never played any of the Dynasty Warriors games?
No.
You know what they are?
Is it based on the 80s adult drama?
No.
Okay.
This is a series of games. It's in a genre defined by Dynasty Warriors, but there are other games now called Musu. And it's games usually set in historical Japan where you play a character who goes out and fights in these battles where there are other officers that you fight sort of one-on-one, but the regular foot soldiers are just meat for the grinder. This is a game series where in a 10-minute match you might kill 1,500 enemies.
Oh.
Because you just go out there and swing and 50 enemies go flying. That's sort of it's just a massive power fantasy.
Now you've got my attention.
And
love me a good power fantasy.
This is again going to be the first time in several years where they're actually moving to a new engine, and you can tell the difference. It looks much more like a real modern game, because like a lot of these Japanese niche games that I like, they just don't get the budgets.
Right, yeah.
So Cyberpunk 2077. This is
how many things do you have on your list?
Couple more.
Okay. Holy shit.
This is a cyberpunk game, obviously, based on an underrated, if a little bit janky tabletop RPG, which I guess, Bob, you said you have actually played.
Yeah, I played a few times.
One of those, like Shadowrun, if you're at all familiar with it, except without magic. A game that's really based more around shopping than it is actually role-playing. Just finding the cool shit you can attach to your character.
Yeah. You can cut off parts of your body and add cybernetics to them.
Oh, okay.
But every time you do that, you run the risk of going insane and losing your humanity.
And you have like a fixed amount of humanity,
yes,
right?
Yes.
everything you add on or remove sort of takes away from that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then you hit zero humanity, and then you become a cyber killer.
Cyber Psycho? Is
Yes,
that what they call
that's
it? Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like a Megadeth song.
it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a role playing, but like, more. There's cars and guns and shit.
Right.
Yeah. And your arm has been replaced with a chain gun. Or a chainsaw.
I think that's been done.
Yeah. It's part of me. And I want to make it part of you. But this is a game that was announced with a teaser trailer, just like 45 seconds of CG that looked amazing 5 years ago. Maybe more. It's been a while. And dead silence since then. But it's from CD Projekt Red, which is
A venereal
Polish
disease?
company. Am I right about that?
And Poland knows their video games.
The video game companies are coming from all over now. Borders just, it's not like Japan and America had they're coming from all over now.
Yeah.
And I love it, the diversity, because we're getting such cool shit because they're coming from different places and a whole lot of different aesthetics and mindsets. It's really a good time for games. I mean, financially, for sure. They are making buttloads of money.
But anyway, so this is that concept made by the makers of the Witcher games, including The Witcher 3, which a lot of people, including me, consider the best video game RPG ever made. So it's nothing but huge expectations. Hopefully they won't fail to meet those. 2 more, I swear.
Oh my god.
And these are on my question mark list. This is my question mark list. These are the things I'm not sure of. Last of Us 2.
Mm.
I was sucked in by the E3 trailer. And the way that they sort of did the bait and switch. You've got the almost grizzled looking hand playing the guitar, and you're so sure it's Joel, and then it turns out to be Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can come up with a way to make it distinct from the first game,
Which, that's a tall order.
then I'm on board. If it's just going to be a rehash of the first game, then I've played the first game.
Yeah.
So
and I was not impressed by the game mechanics whatsoever. What kept me going was the story.
Yeah.
If the story wasn't as good as it was in the first one, I would have stopped that like 20 minutes in.
Yeah, but how many video games have that good a story?
Very few.
Yeah, I mean, you could forgive a lot for a game where they actually put some effort into narrative.
Well,
Because
I
it doesn't
mean,
happen that often.
yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn was flat out the best game I played all last year. And probably the year before that and the year before that. And it had a terrific balance between gameplay and story.
Yeah.
I mean, that was almost a perfect game for me. I enjoyed the shit out of it. Last of Us, terrific story. Unparalleled storytelling in a video game. Shit-ass game mechanics.
Yeah.
They were fucking terrible and frustrating and clunky. And that, to me, is what you're going to get me to buy. If you fix those game mechanics, I'm all in.
One more. And this is the real crazy spoiler.
Oh.
Mech Warrior 5. This is a sim-heavy mech battle game. Like, hardcore sim-heavy. Like, controlling your power allocation to different systems in your mech and all that kind of stuff. And it is the first new game in the series in 15 years.
I was going to say, when you said Mech Warrior 5, I was like, wait, did I miss? I thought 4 came out like a long time ago. It came out
15 years ago. There's been a Mech Warrior Online in between there. There hasn't been a single player game in 15 years. And I remember playing Mech Warrior 2 on a 486 PC in the back of the classroom in my middle school science class. So this goes back a while. So this could be good or bad. There's not that much out there yet, but the fact that this is the first game in 15 years, and there's nothing else like it.
So before we get to the one that we universally agreed upon, the most anticipated event of 2018, do you guys have any getaway destination type things you're doing this year?
No.
Okay.
Planning to go visit family in South Carolina in April.
Okay.
If my boss actually approves my vacation.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I knocked one off my list, my bucket list, just last weekend at the Rolex 24 Daytona. The most spectacular thing I've ever seen with my own two eyes, with some really great friends and met some cool new people. Got tackled by somebody in the infield because I didn't want to do fireball shots. Didn't know this person. It's a great goddamn time. And of course, Camp Hooligan is going to Mid-Ohio in May. Never been to Mid-Ohio, so really excited for that one. And of course, this sailing 6 hours of the Glen. So those are the destinations that I'm really looking forward to.
Must be nice.
Oh, it's pretty sweet to be
Have
me.
infinite money and no responsibility.
Oh, it's so sweet to be me, James. I can't even tell you.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the one that we all agreed that the one thing we're really looking forward to more than anything else in 2018 are the midterm elections.
Yeah.
It's last I saw 580 or 538 had the Democrats at a 60% chance of taking the House.
But that's been waning. Actually.
That's really
It's down
optimistic.
from 65.
Yeah, the generic vote has not been moving the Democrats' way. It hit a high and then it's been going back down.
Well, what have the Democrats done to really seize on Trump?
I think the shutdown moved the needle a little.
Yeah.
Temporarily.
But no, it's the midterms are...
This will tell us really where the voters' heads are at, not the countries, but the voters' heads are at.
It's eventually we have to actually see what voters think and are willing to do about the direction the country is going in right now. And that's why I'm as much interested, if not more so, in turnout as I am in the results of elections.
Midterm turnouts are always shit.
Yeah, but if the Democrats are motivated...
Democrats are never motivated.
They've never had Donald Trump before.
If the Democrats think they're going to take back the House, they're going to need higher turnout than they ever get.
Oh, hell yeah.
Elections.
Yes.
No question about it.
And they're going to need depressed turnout from Republicans who are depressed.
Yeah.
I mean...
Try to flip a couple, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, the Democrats do have the advantage of a ridiculous number of Republican elected officials who are not going to run for re-election.
Yeah, that number seems to keep growing by the day.
It's at what, 41 now?
It's unreal.
It's
what
more,
do they
more
know
than
that...
more than the number that dropped out in the midterms in Nixon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is it because they can't face voters again for a sure defeat for supporting
I think
you'll find...
I think they're honestly just tired of it.
Yeah.
I think they feel bad about themselves. And they don't want to
God,
feel bad
I hope
about
that's the
themselves
case.
anymore.
I really hope that's the case. I don't know that it is, because you got to be kind of an egomaniac to want to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But, you know, Trey Gowdy, who I've always thought of as kind of a buffoon.
Yeah.
And
especially with that hair.
When he announced he was stepping down and talked about wanting to be back in a courtroom, everybody was talking about a vacancy on the Fourth Circuit. He thinks he's going to get a judicial appointment. And then on Twitter today, he's saying that this memo means nothing, and he still has 100% respect for and support for Robert Mueller's investigation, and it should be allowed to continue. So if he thought he was getting an appointment to the Fourth Circuit, he's not now.
Nope.
Yeah.
So apparently that was not what motivated him.
Yeah.
Trey Gowdy.
I don't know if the Republicans who had full-throated support for Trump, you know, during the presidential election are like, I can't face I'll get steamrolled in the midterms because I threw all my support behind this fucking buffoon. I've made my money.
I don't think that explains enough I think too many of the people who are leaving were really in still pretty safe seats.
Yeah, but it's astonishing. In my lifetime, I don't remember seeing anything like that.
No, not in.
Well, Bob's, yeah.
Yeah.
What year were you born?
66.
Yeah, so yeah, your lifetime.
Okay.
You were still young. You were a young man.
He's young of heart. And certainly of brain. That's why we hang out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be and I wonder if let's hypothetically, if the economy keeps chugging along at a decent pace, if we don't get into war with North Korea
or anyone else,
if nothing major happens one way or the other, if in 10 months we're about where we are now,
mm-hmm.
Are people really gonna be that pissed at Donald Trump? I mean, the economy's what's the unemployment rate at 5%?
4.9.
Isn't that pretty much full employment?
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody.
But it's still a question of whether there are people who are just not in the workforce.
Oh, sure.
That's hard to measure.
Right.
Sure. But an argument can be made that the economy is running smoothly. And I'm wondering if he...
Is your personal economy running smoothly, Bob?
It is not. It's running very...
Neither is mine.
Okay.
The Wall Street economy is fucking great. Everything other than that...
Yeah.
I mean, where I work, business is good.
Well, then...
In manufacturing, things are pretty good.
Democrats are going to have to find a message and a messenger to speak to the people whose personal economies aren't doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the mostly the uneducated white working class.
Trump voters.
There you go. So, find a way to tell them that their man is their fault. The reason that they're doing so poorly is their guy.
They've been doing poorly for a generation and a half now. I mean,
yeah.
And they've tried how many different dudes in that big White House? Nothing seems to help them. I don't know when they're going to get smart and finally, work at their local congressional and Senate levels where the real change happens. But people have it in their heads that one person is going to fix everything when they're elected president of the United States, and it never fucking happens that way.
All right, so yes or no? Democrats take the House.
Oh, boy. If things stay as they are right now?
As they are right now.
No.
Yes or no?
I think they take back a lot of seats. I don't think they win a majority.
Okay. It sounds like it's unanimous. If there are no major blunders, if things are pretty status quo, they will come close but fall short. And obviously the Senate's out of play. If they can't take back the House, the math is so against Democrats in the Senate.
Yeah, it's a bad cycle.
Yeah,
the Senate.
They have a great chance in 2020.
Yeah,
but 2018 is not their year for the Senate.
No, but my biggest concern about the midterms are when are all the findings of the investigation going to come out, and how close to the election?
Well, that's kind of baked into the question, is assuming the status quo is
yeah.
And that can be a real status quo upsetter, is the Mueller investigation.
Well,
how close to the president does it get? And can they prove obstruction?
Right.
And if they prove it, does anyone act on it?
What can they do?
And
yeah, I mean that's where we're at right now.
Yeah,
they come forward with an ironclad case that the president did this, the president was directly involved, and Congress won't act. The highest levels of the FBI and Justice Department won't act, and it's just a result without a consequence.
So no, well,
military coup.
Here's my question. So let's say that happens. Congress does nothing. In that case, I will predict a blue wave in November.
I could see that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
so we get a new House.
All bets are off if that happens. That's basically the end of the rule of law.
So we get a new House of Representatives. Can they impeach? In January?
And if so, I mean, that's just a big shame bell.
Still,
It's
that'll drive Donald Trump nuts. I mean, he's all about ego and, you know,
maybe that's when
image.
scenario 2 plays in, his health.
You think he'll stroke out if they impeach him?
Yeah, you can remove somebody from office through the impeachment process.
No, he has to be found guilty of a crime. Correct?
Well, yeah, but that's what impeachment is for.
Oh, okay. So what? Explain that. I'm misunderstanding.
If someone is successfully impeached, then they are removed from office, where they can then face criminal charges.
Okay.
Hence why Nixon decided to get out of Dodge before any of that shit went down.
Yeah.
Clinton was too close to the end of his run. Why even fucking bother? But I don't.
The case would have to be pretty solid to get the Senate to vote to impeach.
And man, we've heard nothing that puts anything at the president's feet. Nothing.
The obstruction.
It goes, all around him. I mean,
the obstruction could be his.
And obstruction could be good enough in the right circumstances. But if, right now we have people who don't care at all what he does. Playing nuclear chicken with a rogue nuclear power doesn't faze anyone. So,
yeah, that's my guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's the twisted thing we're looking forward to the most in 2018.
Can I? Are we wrapping up? Because I have some things that I'm looking forward to. Or
are we at an hour?
We're about an hour. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm looking forward to where the Me Too movement goes from here. I feel like we're at a point in our country where we're really seeing some change. I'm looking forward to more women running for office in 2018. I think we may see record numbers of women running for office.
Well, what Me Too did was scare the shit out of a lot of assholes.
Yes, but it also it woke up a lot of women and people.
For sure. To help scare the shit out of more assholes.
Right. But I think that people are woke now to.
Nice.
Thank you. I try to stay hip with the lingo.
That was dope.
But that could be
whack.
If you get me started on Me Too, where it's been and where it's going, that's another 40 minutes.
Okay, let's not. I one of the things I'm looking forward to is more positive movement in the direction of equality and the end of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and more women becoming empowered, more women running for elected offices. So that is something that I think is going to be positive in 2018.
Unless it inevitably overreaches and ends up taking 2 steps back after 1 step forward, which is what I fear. But anyway.
That's why we call him Sunshine. Thanks for listening, folks. It's been a blast. It's good to be back. We won't be taking this long a hiatus again unless one of us ends up in jail, which...
Hey, if I didn't at Daytona, then I'm good.
So hit us up on Twitter at
Giltastrophe.
At Bob Ricotta or
at PostJM9.
Are we doing the email thing?
Nobody uses it.
No one has ever.
Lord Buffington.
Lord Buffington has used it once,
and
just to prove that it was worked. I guess.
We're also on the Facebooks. Three. So, and those were quite active with like the email.
Yeah. What am I supposed to be updating the email every day?
Sending out, email blasts.
Like put a vacation away message and change it every day.
Constant contact, man.
All right. On that note, play us out, Chris.
It's your job. I didn't cue up the music. God damn it.